Alright everybody, this is Dear Mama Sal. Okay, and we are now going to start cooking these potatoes. What I've done is I've put the oil on a medium heat, and I've put it in a deep fry pan. On this side I've had potatoes that I peeled some time ago. They're just sitting in water so they don't change color. But basically what we're going to do here is deep fry potatoes. It's like making giant fries out of potatoes. Now it sounds gross and sounds terrible, but from all accounts, everybody that's ever had them tell me they are the best roast potatoes in the world, or that they've ever had, whichever comes first. So I just wanted to make sure that you saw how easy it is. Now the first thing I've done is to actually put the oil in, and for those of you who might, I'm sure most of you know this already, but oil is something that you can't necessarily see when it's cooked. Some say you can see a glaze or whatever that comes off a blue haze, but I like to just put a little bit of potato in because when the oil is hot enough, guess what, the potato starts to cook. It's a pretty sure sign that it's okay. So what I'm going to be doing though is, once the oil is hot enough, I will be putting in the potatoes, but the potatoes are going to be wet, so you can't put wet potatoes into boiling oil, obviously. So that's why I have got this over my shoulder. So I will dry each one and then put it in individually. So this is going to take a little while just to heat up, and I'll come back to you as soon as that's done. Let everybody know that the standing rib roast is now in my convection oven, my little one, and that's just going to quietly cook away while we're doing everything else. The trick with it is that you need to cook the food, the beef, and then leave it to stand for probably half an hour for all the juices to go back into the roast. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We're taking a I do this the better way rather than the way I would normally do it. Okay, so I'm taking a dried potato and I'm just dropping it and covering it with oil. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to take out the little piece of potato that I had in there to start with, otherwise that's going to just burn. And then I'm just going to keep dry one, coat one. Doesn't really matter, you know, they can cook at different speeds. You're just going to take it out when it gets to a certain level. Now the problem that we have with this more than anything is that once everybody knows that I'm doing these potatoes, the run on them is greater. It always has been. And we were just talking to Yvonne about it. She was up here and I said, I'm doing the deep fried potatoes, and she said, how many do we get? First question. So it was quite funny. So really all you're trying to do here is to get them, ooh, that's not a good thing to do, is to get them about half to 3/4 cooked. And then I'm just going to put them and keep them warm, and then just before I serve them, they're going to go back into hot oil again. And it's amazing what happens in that last bit, because they will suddenly just really crisp up. And if you don't like French fries, this probably isn't the way to go. But if you do like French fries, you will love these. So, pretty easy, get the idea? And I'm going to let them cook, and I'll show you just before I start taking them out sort of what consistency they are. I'll chat to you later. So the potatoes have been cooking for a little while now, and as you can probably see, they're beginning to get sort of like a glaze outside to them. Let me see if I can hold that in a way that you can see. Alright, so the inside you can see is, okay, it's not done yet, but the outsides have got this sort of glazy look to them. So that's where I'm going to turn them over. And some of these almost don't need turning over because they're pretty deep in the fat anyway. Now I'm doing this well ahead of time. I am sort of an hour and a half minimum away from needing to serve these. But what I want to do is to get them mostly cooked so there's not a whole lot of pressure at the end. You know, the worst of it's done. What I like to do is get most of it sort of cooked and then just keep it warm for the last half hour so it looks like you're perfectly under control, which I never am, of course. But it's nice faking it. And it's the trick that I've also learned in this household is I have everybody come up and lay the table and everything for me because I know that's going to take them at least 15 minutes to get all of that done, because then at the very last moment they suddenly go, oh, I forgot to get a Venus sighting. Hi, Bean Bean. Say hi to everybody. Who's a good boy? Huh? Who's a good dog? Yes, you are. You want your num-nums? See, he brought his bone. Always has to bring a toy with him. There's his food in his bowl. And we're not quite sure, and his medicine. And we're never quite sure why this is important, but he always has to bring something to the table. And then, if you're lucky, he's going to eat it. You'll see a previous blue one is there. What's wrong, Bea?
That's not what he wanted to eat at all. You know it.
No, he wants a treat. So anyway, what I did want to just make sure I said for, let me just get this off Zoom, for those who may not be used to cooking with very hot oil. Again, I've still only got it about 3/4 high. Never ever leave the room when you've got hot oil cooking. If for any reason I were on my own and needed to leave the room, what I would do is take it right off the heat. And you know, if I needed to go to the washroom or whatever, probably more information than you need, but that sort of thing, I would take it off the heat. And just to make sure it was safe, and then put it back on again when I got back. So the reason I'm really fussy about that is I nearly lost a house once with a visitor who was trying to help and said, don't worry, I'll look after the oil for you. And the next thing I knew, my kitchen was in flames. So since then I've become a little bit paranoid about doing that. And I'm sure you can imagine that. The other thing is I've turned it off just to do this part of the vlog, but I'm going to be putting the fan back on again, so at least a lot of the oil smells will be absorbed and not going into our clothes. Alright, I'll come back to you when they're cooked a bit more. Okay, so these are cooking away quite nicely. The time is now 4:32. We're aiming for a 6:30 meal. So I just wanted to let you know that what I've been doing here is we're going to do an experiment today. We've decided to do the big muffin pans for the Yorkshire pudding. And for those people who kept asking me, what's Yorkshire pudding, what's Yorkshire pudding? If you're in the States, I think you call it a popover. And if you've ever had popovers, that's basically what it is. Now, I've had the mixture sitting in the fridge for about an hour or so it's good and cool. I'm now going to warm up the pans. I'm just preheating the oven to about 400 American. That would be about 165 for the rest of the world. So I'm going to heat up these pans, and then I'm hoping I can get 3 of them in. I think I can. Looks like it. tight, but if I put it that way, I can. Alright, so just so that you know, very cold, nice and cold mixture about to go into very hot pans. I'm going to leave those pans in there probably for about 5 minutes just to warm up, and then I'm going to put the mixture in there. Alright, I'll get back to you in a bit. Bye for now. Okay everybody, so I'm just going to turn the vent off. The oven temperature is now up to 300, so it's getting there, it's nearly ready to cook. These are cooking very nicely. As you can see, they're beginning to get a bit of color on them now. I'm turning them every now and then, not too much. Most of them I don't need to turn. I'm just turning the ones where the tops of them are sticking outside of the oil. So, and then I've had these in warming up, and they're nice and warm now, so that's going to be good. And then I'm now just going to mix this up. I think I got 5 eggs in here. That's quite a bit. Let's hope I've made enough. There'll be major complaints if I haven't. They're not nice to me when I don't make enough. Alright, we'll check with you in a bit. Okay, so the oven is ready for the Yorkshire puddings to go in. So I was just about to ladle out the Yorkshire pudding mix when I went, where is my little ladle gone? Dufus. It fell inside the Yorkshire pudding mix. What's new, you say? I hope you weren't drinking coffee at that moment. Well, I just wanted to show you that these are beginning to get a really nice color. So, and when I put a bamboo stick in, they're feeling quite soft, which means that they're basically cooked, right? But they're not the deep color that I want, but they are enough of a color that I can take these ones out. They're sufficiently cooked. And then what I'll do is I'll put them in for the last 15 minutes or so and brown them up. So I just find it quite easy to do with a bamboo stick. Just going to turn that one over a bit, it's a slightly different shape. Good. This one looks like it's good and cooked. Yes, this one's doing fine. Do with a little bit more. What I'm looking for is just a base color, which you can probably see, just starting to go golden brown. This one hasn't done it yet, so it needs a bit more. When they do turn, they turn fairly quickly, so it's a good idea just to keep an eye on them, especially at this stage when they've been here for quite a while. This one's nearly done. It's easier to do when you're using 2 hands, not one, but you know me, I like to challenge myself. So you can see the top of this is pretty well done. I'm just going to do the sides a bit more. This one's looking a good color. Okay, so this one's pretty good color on both sides, so I'm going to let that one go. And I'm just putting them in here with paper towels so they can sort of drip dry a bit, as I call it, getting the worst of the fat off them. These can just do a little bit more. Okay, so you got the basic idea. That's the sort of color. And then when I put them in the second time, I don't know why it is, but if you just let them rest for a while and then put them in just before you're going to serve them, they really color up very quickly and look wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, I'm going to give these a few more minutes just to carry on browning, and then we'll have them all out. Alright everybody, so here we go. We've just put these in for the final browning, and as you can see they end up brown, and in a couple of minutes they're going to be brown and crispy. But we're not going to be able to videotape right now because we've got other things we need to be doing, so I thought I'd show you just before they really do crisp up. But I can tell you one thing. They are so tasty like that. And by the way, this is what prime rib looks like. Perfectly cooked. Am I correct there, Wade?
Yes, it's wonderful.
I tell you, I couldn't have cooked that better if I tried, and I did. Alright, so we found out, unfortunately, that the beans are going to be wonderful for those people who like garlic, because the onion that I've got has garlic in it. So I've got sprinkled onion, and we're going to sprinkle some almonds over that. And this is the yams in honey and brown sugar. So it should all taste great, and lots of gravy, otherwise Yvonne will kill me. Alright everybody, bye for now. Okay, and just to let you know that I did the Yorkshire puddings. They're a bit crispy today, but I did the Yorkshire puddings in big muffin pans and also in a small loaf pan. But it looks really good. But that meat is just pink and just beautiful, and the roast potatoes, of course, to die for. So they are really crispy, and they're going to be wonderful with loads of gravy. So good. Bye for now. Okay, so Laura,
where's the...
so Laura, what is the, what is that for?
Oh.
Well, this beef is so good. It's like, it's better than sex. What? Anything's better than sex.
And how about the yams?
Oh, I don't even like yams, and these are so good.
So all we did was honey and brown sugar,
Yeah,
but we roasted them.
roasted them so they're a little bit crispy.
And then we covered them in honey and brown sugar and then roasted them some more.
Oh.
And
Oh,
Gee, is she on the payroll or what?
yeah. Okay, and then what we also did for everybody else is we have the beans that we're going to be covered in onion and almonds. Who's hogging the almond bowl?
oh, the very delicate.
Yeah, the delicate almond bowl. Thank you very much. A very delicate almond bowl. But it was only at the last moment that we realized that the onions that we have, which I'll show you, Yvonne's got on her meat, because I told her she could do that. Okay, see those onions on there?
I'm having some of those on my beans.
Well, it turns out it had garlic in it, so you know I can't eat those, so never mind. Anyway, so generally, everything's good. Now, the only problem we've got here is the person we cooked this meal for isn't here. But quite honestly, we don't give a damn right at this moment. It's a long story. We'll explain it later. All right. How's yours, Fun? Good?
Good, very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Right.
Bad envy.
Good, thanks.
Right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anne. Happy birthday to you. There you
I'll
go.
put 3 because.
Yeah. There you go. Well done, Ange.
Now look at the
No
color.
boyfriend.
Look at the color.
Wow.